To Facebook Live and welcome to this beautiful kit that we've got for you. It's Crystalline Calm, a crafting kit that includes 50 pieces and everything that you need to make cards for all occasions. So without ado, let's get straight into here. It's actually designed in conjunction with Papercrafter magazine, so it's really exciting because lots of ideas and inspiration for you. But inside here you've got everything that you could possibly need. Now I'm going to show you, first of all, you're going to get a die. That's the beautiful rose die that we've got, so you're going to use that lots and lots and lots. That's on the backing card. And then inside here it is crammed full of card blanks, of actual toppers, glitter card, the backing cards. We've even got the foam pads in here, so everything that you need to make beautiful cards. I'm actually going to put some inspiration together for you. I'm going to put this to one side so that there's still a little bit of a surprise of what's actually in your kit. So first of all, I want to talk to you about how cleverly it's been designed. When you look at this, please don't throw anything away. Don't go pushing the toppers out and then thinking, oh, I'll just put the waste to one side, because we're going to use that too. So as a for instance, once you push out one of the topper sheets, which I've done here, so let me just show you how easy they are, just to literally break the pips. And the pips are little tiny fibres of card that are holding this in place so that when you pick it up, it doesn't all immediately fall apart. I'm just going to break that one there. So that's what your toppers are going to look like. Some of them have got sentiment, some of them are left blank for you to decide what you want to put on them. And then we're left with this lovely frame here. So by taking my scissors and snipping out this frame, I can then use that for one of my other cards. So just by literally, I'm going to snip that through there, through the bottom panel that I've got there. Do a little bit of lining up to get it all even, but think about how you could be putting different colours behind here and then creating the frame on the top. Those beautiful die cuts look fabulous if you were to take your marker pens to them. So lift up the frame on the foam and then put this fabulous bouquet that you're creating in there on the front of the topper. So we're going to use the waste, we're going to create some amazing cards, but one of the things that I'd like to do is show you how we're going to take the plain card shapes, already pre-scored. So we've got different sizes and different shapes. You've got them so that you can create your portrait or landscape cards. We can create them with rectangles, and we've also got squares as well. But how about we want to create a shaped card? So I'm going to give you a couple of little tricks. So first of all, I'm going to use my guillotine. Now you can work with a pair of scissors. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do it with a pair of scissors. So for those of you at home that this is the very first time you've ever bought a paper crafting kit, to show you how easy it is. So take your pair of scissors, and I need to take my topper and just work out what sort of border I'm looking for. So I think probably that's about 1/2 centimetre. So I'm going to take that and give myself the same border on the other side. So I've now got a little notch where I'm going to trim, and I'm going to cut down here, not all the way, but about 2/3 of the way through this length of panel that I've got. Now, this is where it gets exciting, because take hold of the card and we're going to push this in and create a score line, but the score line is just going to be along here. And to make sure that I've scored it perfectly, what I need to do is crease it and then get these two edges to be level. So there, I've got that level, and now I can crease that firmly, and you can see how that's starting to create the front of the card. So I need to do the same on the other side, and to make sure that that one's just as beautifully creased, I start off with the same technique and then run the back of my scissors, a bone folder, whatever you've got in your stash, run it along there. Now at the moment this isn't going to stand up because we've got too much protruding at the bottom. So this is where we get clever. I'm just going to fold it up along that bottom edge, and that's going to be the guideline for where our extra score line is going to go. So press that down firmly, and there we've created ourselves a stepper card where I can put my panel on the front, I can put my panel on the side, I can mix and match all the different elements that I've got. So with this one, I've got a nice broad panel here, and my steps are ready for me to do other elements with. So let's take a little look at what else we can do with this particular card. Well, one of the nice things about getting paper kits is you get lots of pieces to work with. And along one of the panels and the die cut pieces you've got, you're going to find these lovely strips with a very soft pink border at either side. Now this piece is actually the waist, but it would work well on top of here. I could turn it over so you've got that lovely contrast, that nice vintage ivory that we've got there, and that's going to sit perfectly across the front of my card. So for anybody who hasn't used foam pads before, these are going to give us some depth and dimension. So let's take this one. In fact, I've got a green one here. I'm going to work with this one because, first of all, I pushed it down a little bit less, so I've got a bit more protruding. And also this colour's really complementary. Just get those firmly in place with the score lines, and let's talk about these foam pads. So the foam pads themselves are little double-sided pads. On the top side I've got a carrier sheet, and that carrier means that it stays, I can touch him without it being sticky. You can place them sort of at least a few centimetres apart. It's enough to support the card, and then once I've got them on, I go back and take off the little pieces of paper that are stopping it sticking. And you can get a little rhythm going with something like a pokey tool or a pin, so, or even a pair of tweezers. So that's ready for me now to put onto the front of my card. So I'm going to put that across the front like that. So I've now created a lovely panel with a little bit of depth to it. I've got my rose petals and my flowers that I'm going to put here, and to make this work I'm going to make sure it's level at the top so the card's nice and balanced. So let's put a bit of tape on the back of this, and I think we'll do some matting and layering. So this is one of the pretty backing papers that we've got. The colour's perfect for these lovely roses, and if you are working just with a pair of scissors, this is a good way of working. To get a really straight line, put your fingers at the bottom and support the scissors. And then as you close that blade, you've got complete control in making sure it's a straight line. And the one thing that we need to do is make sure that we close it and we get as much of that. It's only when we do this that it starts to go wonky. So if you've got guillotines to hand, please use your guillotines, but otherwise that's a great way of getting a really good little topper. So ready now for this to go on the front of the card. So I'm just going to put that in there, tuck it down a tiny bit so that it's level at the top, as I've already mentioned. And then let's look at the panel that we've got here. So I could be putting another greeting, or I could be putting another border. I'm going to take this piece and put it across the top. But because I want to make it flat, I'm going to make sure it goes behind where I've got those little foam pads. So again, some glue. This is what we call a tape runner, really easy to use, and just dispenses the glue so cleanly that once you've used them, you'll always love them. That's ready. Now turn over our card, trim off that excess, and we're ready to put some of these beautiful roses on. Now, when you use your die, one of the fantastic things about die cutting is, even as an expert, you're going to get the same results, or I get the same results as anybody else who may have even been crafting for just literally a few hours or days. And the results that you get are absolutely stunning. So what else can we do with them? Well, we could cut them out of the decorative card that's in the kit. We could cut them out of different kinds of shades of card that we've got in our stash, or cut them out of white and then take your pens to them and add a little bit of colour. That's what I've done here. So a little bit of colour on this first one, and it's going to sit across my card. I've got a couple more that I've also coloured, which, you know what, this is what I love. This is when my craft room and my desk, I love it when I've got this little sort of spread of craft stash around me. It's when you feel the most creative and you have the most fun. And a little bit of glue, or how about this time we come in and we take our foam pads and we put those on. So we'll do that. We'll take the backs off at the same time. And just a few of these are all it's going to take to give us some dimension on our design. So I'm going to lift that up, place this one, let's place it under this rose. So I've got the rose buds going over the top and that leaf. So it's as if I've actually created the simplest of pieces and the simplest of materials. You're creating something that really is quite pretty and elegant. And one last thing I'm going to show you how to do. We're going to go into another piece of that waste. And this time we're going to make it into a little bow. So by putting a little piece of glue in the middle and just taking your fingers, tease your piece of card around and create yourself a loop on the other side. And then all that's required is trimming off that excess, and we're going to put a centre in here. Need a little bit more glue to make that properly stick, and I'm going to need some glue on this piece, which I've already got. Roll that round to create the loops of my bow. So you can see there, they're really starting to take on the bow shape. Put this piece in the middle and just tuck that round the back. And I'm going round a couple of times because I want it to look chunky, you know, as if that bow is in the middle and it's almost as if it's knotted. And then finally, one last foam pad in the middle, right in the centre of the panel of my topper, and that little bow is our finishing touch. And there we go. The first of lots of cards that you're going to be able to make with your kit. I'm going to finish it off just a tiny bit more adhesive to make that really stick in place. Crafting, everybody, and I hope I see you very soon.